As the great philosophers Blink-182 once said, "Work sucks. I know." To make their lives more interesting, humble workers have to get creative. But sometimes they go too far and pay the ultimate price. Here are 10 of the stupidest things employees have ever done to get fired. Number 10. Domino's employees film themselves. You may have seen the bit from the film Waiting, where the kitchen staff take turns putting bodily fluids onto a customer's food. But little did we know that some workers have actually taken this as an instructional guide. Domino's employees Christy Hammonds and Michael Setzer went rogue and lived out the worst nightmare of anyone who's ever ordered takeout. They filmed themselves sneezing on pizzas, putting cheese up their nose, and rubbing a sponge used to clean the dishes on their butts. The two were immediately fired and the store was closed for immediate cleaning, but not before the scandal went viral and was picked up by news reports nationwide. In the end, they were both charged with felony violations of adulterating food. Hammonds received a 45-day suspended sentence and 18 months probation, while Setzer was given a 6-month suspended sentence and 24 months of supervised probation. Not so funny anymore, is it? Number 9. The flight attendant who rage quit. August 9th, 2010 was just another day for veteran flight attendant Steven Slater. But Steven, who had 20 years of experience at JetBlue, was about to get a customer from hell and make a decision that would seal his fate with the company and enter him into the history books. According to news reports, Steven had been attending a flight that landed in JFK Airport, New York. At this point, a female passenger attempted to stand to get her bag before the plane had come to a complete stop. Slater went to her to ask her to sit down, at which point she hit him with her bag and cursed at him. According to witnesses, Slater went to the speakerphone at the front of the plane and after a few profanities of his own said, "I've been in this business 20 years and that's it. I'm done." After this, he grabbed 2 beers from the drinks trolley, pulled the emergency slide, jumped out of the plane, and drove home to see his boyfriend. He was later arrested and let go from his job, but remains a cult hero among overworked, underappreciated service workers everywhere. Number 8. Police officer coin toss. You know that bit in No Country for Old Men where Javier Bardem's character roams the countryside flipping a coin to determine who lives or dies? Well, that fantasy is now a reality, thanks to the ingenuity of these Georgia police officers. At a routine traffic stop, they interrogated a woman who was caught speeding to work. They then went back to their cruiser, where they did something odd. They flipped a coin, using an app, to decide whether or not to let the woman go or arrest her. The officer used the terms A, or arrest, for heads, and R, or release, for tails.
Who's that?
A head, R tail.
Okay.
Tail, right?
Yeah, so really.
20.
Sounds dumb, but it gets worse. It was all caught on their own body cameras. The 2 officers were later terminated from their posts, and the lady they arrested was later dismissed from any charges by a prosecutor. Treating freedom like it's a game of chance? Not cool. Number 7. Daycare workers' Instagram feed. Working at a daycare is a stressful job that requires you be a caring, good-natured individual who loves kids. But what happens when the exact opposite of that type of person gets hired for the job? Probably what happened at Heavenly Haven Learning Center in Virginia, where parents discovered pictures of their children were online in the form of Instagram posts. The care workers decided to create a less than secret account where they not only posted pictures of the kids, but made mean comments about their appearance. In some, they likened them to characters from Pixar movies, and in others, they just wrote text about how much they hated them. The workers were, of course, fired. But the damage was already done, and the daycare was flooded with news reporters all looking to get a piece of the action. Number 6. Cop caught stealing. You never know quite what you're going to see on security camera. This footage comes from outside a Goodwill in Daytona Beach, Florida. It's not uncommon for charity drop-offs to be ransacked, especially if the donations are left outside. What is uncommon, however, is to see a protector of the peace doing it. This man caught stealing from charity is Officer Bryce Miller. He drove up in the middle of the night to load up a few hot goods. What's worse? He did it in his own patrol car. He resigned from his position not long after. Goodwill? More like good riddance. Number 5. Pizza delivery driver goes rogue. The service industry can be horrible, with ungrateful customers and long shifts. Sometimes it's the good tips that help the workers make it through the harder times. After this pizza delivery driver didn't receive a tip, he took matters, and other things, into his own hands. The customer discovered a yellow liquid on her front steps several hours later. When she checked the security camera footage, she found out what happened. The driver was caught on security camera footage unzipping his trousers and peeing all over her door. The delivery driver later apologized, but it was too late. He was fired shortly after. You might say he pissed off the wrong people. Number 4. Delivery drivers gone wild. There must be something about all that traveling around that turns certain delivery drivers into wild animals. The number of clips from home security cameras of couriers throwing, tossing, or pushing parcels with a truck is unbelievable. But my favorite stupid moment has to be this incident in Houston. The owner of the home noticed his UPS delivered parcel had been damaged. Luckily, he had cameras that saw the whole thing unfold and solved the mystery. Checking the security footage of his side gate, he noticed 2 things when the courier walked up to deliver the parcel. Firstly, he throws the parcel. And then, if that wasn't enough, he urinates on the gate just as an additional screw you. Though he was later fired, this guy really put the P in UPS. Number 3. KFC employees taking a bath at work. Ever see those employees must wash their hands sign at restaurants? Well, this group of workers at a KFC in Anderson, California took their personal hygiene a step further. Noticing that the dishwashing sink could hold several of them, they did something unique. They decided to strip down and take a group bath. That's right, these girls added their own 11 secret herbs and spices to the mix, contaminating almost everything in the kitchen in the process, all while taking selfies of the whole thing. Their fun and games earned them national attention, and they were promptly fired. Finger licking good? Hardly. Number 2. Airline employees sleeping on the floor. Ryanair is a budget airline in the UK famous for their cheap but often disruptive flights. They've also landed themselves in a bit of hot water for underpaying their staff and posting the salaries of their pilots when they went on strike. If that doesn't sound like too much of a PR nightmare already, then this latest one really took off. Seen here in this photo is several Ryanair staff sleeping on the floor in an airport. They had not been given a hotel or any bedding for their overnight stay, and so they took the desperate measure of lying where they could. Tragic, right? Well, the plot thickens when it emerged that this photo had been faked. Ryanair's official Twitter account was quick to dispel the rumor, and in fact showed a video of them setting up the shot. Despite the strangeness of an official business Twitter account publicly taking its own employees to task, it still kinda seems like the poor staff had to stay overnight in a dark room with only plastic chairs for comfort. Even if the photo was fake, the overall working conditions weren't. So who's the real villain here? Now, before I reveal number 1, here's an honorable mention. If you've been on the internet long enough, you've no doubt heard the phrase Burger King foot lettuce. It's not a cheat code for GTA 5. Rather, it's a disgusting tale that needs to be seen to be believed. In 2012, a man posted a picture of himself at work in a Burger King on internet message board 4chan. The photo featured him with his shoes on, standing in 2 piles of salad, with the caption, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." But he forgot the golden rule of restaurateurs: don't mess with people's food. Quickly, internet detectives, rather than applauding him for his bizarre photo, tracked down exactly where he worked and phoned local news outlets as well as the manager of the Burger King itself, which turned out to be in Mayfield Heights, Ohio. The result? He was fired, but this is the internet we're talking about, so you know that's not where the story ends. Later, a viral video on the subject of mysteries solved by 4chan featured a less than enigmatic narrator recounting this event. His strange inflection as he talked about the Burger King foot lettuce sounded like it was being read by an alien trying to learn English.
Burger King foot lettuce.
Of course, it was memed and remixed to infinity.
Burger King foot lettuce.
Number 1. Man caught skipping work. If you didn't need reminding, making pasta in Italy is no laughing matter. So when the news came through that certain parts of the country were lapsed in their work ethic, one of the world's largest pasta makers, Barilla, sprang into action. This story comes from Foggia, southern Italy. According to statistics, people down south work less hard and take more days off. In Foggia, this was true, especially on days of bigger soccer games. And in a factory where one man could be responsible for an entire line, this absenteeism presented a huge problem. Nicola Calandrea, manager of the Barilla plant in Foggia, decided to make it better known to his employees that he would stay on top of their attendance and make notes about their absences, going so far as to call their doctors to check up on them. This culminated in the extreme example of a man called Marco Tutti. Marco asked for time off but was refused, and so instead decided to call in sick. What he was actually doing was going to play soccer for the local team. His plan worked out great, until he scored a goal during the match and got his face in the next day's newspaper for his boss to admire. He was fired, which drove Calandrea's point home, and absenteeism dropped to a record low. And the sponsor of that local football team that Tutti played for? Barilla, of course. So which employee do you think was the stupidest? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and thanks for watching.